Well, hello, everybody. Here we are. It is that time again, and we are back. It is Wednesday night, and Happy New Year!
Yay! Happy New Year!
Yay! Okay, this is our first live event of 2018. How exciting! I'm so happy to be here with you and with one of my most favorite people in the whole world. I have Rebecca Michi here next to me. And this is our breast sleeping Q&A.
Woo!
Hey, you want to see something really cool? Look at this.
Yeah.
Can you see that? It's snowing. So I got the snow going because we're getting some crazy blizzard here tonight. I just watched the news. What did they call it? The bomb? They're calling it like the bomb or something, some weird, I don't know what, but we're getting like almost like hurricane force winds. So if like the power goes out in the middle of this whole thing, you'll know why. Anyway, I got this. What? Can you see our snow? We've got snow coming down.
That's crazy.
So, we're just getting this crazy storm, but I'm so happy before this all happens that we at least got on here to do our Q&A, our monthly Q&A. This is something new that we did a few times last year, but we are starting out this year with a regular monthly show. And you're going to get Rebecca and I the first Wednesday, hopefully, sometimes it'll change, but that's our plan, is the first Wednesday of each month for a breast sleeping Q&A. And we say breast sleeping because this topic, these two topics together, it's very clear, need to be discussed in tandem together because they go hand in hand. And when you're thinking of your baby from birth and beyond, okay, the two things that are the questions that come in the most are about breastfeeding and sleeping. Let's face it, right? So we're both here tonight to be able to answer those questions, spend some time with you all. Hi, everyone jumping in here. I'm just going to say hi to the audience here. Let's see them. Okay, awesome. And lots of questions came in, but there are always new people. And I just want to take a moment to introduce myself, let Rebecca introduce herself so you know who you're listening to. And we'll get started tonight. And everyone in the chat room, let's hear it from you too. Tell us where you're from. Tell us how old your babies are. Are you expecting? How many children do you have? What's the biggest concern that's going on for you tonight? Why are you tuning in? And are you excited about these monthly shows that we're going to do? So I'm Shari Criso, and I'm a registered nurse. I'm a certified nurse midwife. I'm an international board certified lactation consultant. I've been working with moms and babies for over 27 years. Woo. 27 years, yeah, in clinical practice, online, and in my learning center as well. So I delivered lots and lots of babies, over 600 babies in my practice, saw them through their pregnancy, their birth, and through breastfeeding, and with everything in between. And now I do all my work here on the internet with all of you lovely people. It's the best thing in my life. And just a quick one more thing. I'm so excited. We finally launched our membership platform last week. Woohoo! So let's get a woohoo in the audience here. I know everybody's waiting for that. Rebecca and I were talking about it right before we started. And if you want to learn, if you want to get some good information, you have no idea what we've got going on over there. It's the full library. So you've got, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos and great clips and education for you to learn from, including all my full-length shows and all my full-length classes included. So Joe's going to go ahead and post up the link so that if anybody's interested, you can join us over there. And now, Rebecca, please introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Rebecca Michi. I am Seattle-based children's sleep consultant and author. I work with families of children under 6 years old. So obviously there's a real broad range of ages and issues that I work with. I am a gentle, no cry sleep consultant. I'm not advising families to leave their children to cry it out when we're working on some sleep training. And there's actually a lot we can do to get some better sleep without actually doing any of the scary sleep training things. I have two babies. I have my daughter Isabel, is 14, and my youngest daughter Layla is 13. So they're not so much babies now.
Awesome. Are you hold on one second, we might have an audio issue.
I think there was when I started speaking, and then it
okay.
stopped.
Are you guys hearing her okay? Are you still getting an echo? Or do you hear Rebecca okay right now? It's better now. Okay, perfect. Awesome. I don't know. BeLive's kind of acting a little crazy. When we got on earlier, I had an echo as well. So let us know, but then give it a minute because it seems to be resolving itself, right? And we do have our credentials to pop up for us tonight too. I'm going to go ahead and pop up our credentials just so you know these are real experts that you're listening to. You like that? The booby guru and the sleep guru. That's really all you need to know.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to know, right?
That's it.
Oh my goodness. And so tonight we have also, of course, amazing partners and amazing prizes for everybody. So I know that you guys are waiting to see some of the prizes. The prizes tonight and the partners we have, it's Love to Dream, one of our favorites, okay? Love to Dream is here and they're in the house. Hi, Love to Dream. And also we have the amazing breast support pillow for the booby. Okay, this goes under the booby for support. And I'm going to show you the prizes in just a little while. But these are just two amazing companies that have created products that make just life easier for new parents. Like really, that's what I love so much about the brands we work with is that they created things that make life easier, create solutions, and make it safer too. And that's Love to Dream. So we'll show you that in just a few minutes. But I want to go ahead and start with a question and get right into it, and then we'll take a little break and do some more. How about if we do a question first from Melissa? Because Melissa posted this question, I think 3 times to me in 3 different places. So she definitely has a need to, get these questions answered. There were several questions involved. I'm going to answer a couple of them here. Let's see. So this came from Melissa, and Melissa said, let's see. If the baby falls asleep, should I wake the baby to burp or should I let him sleep? And also she said, is laying in bed like the shown in the photo, and I had a picture of a mom laying down to nurse, is that, and the books that she reads about breastfeeding, is it really safe for the baby? So, these are 2 separate questions. I think we'll take the one, first of all, laying down. And, there is definitely laying down to nurse is one of the best positions that you can nurse in. And so I highly recommend that you take the opportunity to rest when you can, lay down, nurse your baby, and nurse in that position. And yes, it can be very safe, but you need to be aware and you need to be conscious about what you're doing. And that means no big pillows, no big comforters, no very loose clothing. That's something I think we don't think about often enough is, our own loose clothing that could get wrapped up on the baby, as well as our hair. Mm-hmm. And right, so there's lots of things you want to think about, things that you might not be considering, that anything loose that could wrap around your baby, you want to get it out of the way. So put tie long hair back, any bathrobe that may have like a tie, and try to prepare your area and your environment for the chance that you may fall asleep. Because to just say, just don't fall asleep. You will. You probably will. And we're exhausted. We're waking up at night. We're nursing. We're doing this around the clock. And you're supposed to. That's how breastfed babies eat. They eat around the clock. And so trying to sleep a little bit while the baby's nursing is an ideal situation. But again, you need to be very conscious about the environment. Would you agree with that?
Totally. Yeah. I personally found that I couldn't nurse laying down whatsoever.
You couldn't nurse laying down?
No. So I always used to have to sit up to nurse. It was super painful.
Well, I want to say something about that because I think it was actually a question that came up later. Somebody else asked that question. She's struggling to nurse laying down. And I would say that I also struggle to nurse in the laying down position, and most moms do in the beginning. So if you have a newborn, newborns are very small, to nurse at the breast with the baby laying next to you, you really need the baby to be a little bit bigger in some cases to be up at the nipple. And so the baby's kind of sinking down into the bed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The breast is sinking. You really need to sometimes be in a more upright position to nurse a newborn. And if it's not working right from the beginning, keep trying, because a couple months into it, you might, or even weeks into it, you might find that now things are better.
Yeah. I didn't do that. Yeah, I just, when you have a newborn, your boobs are so huge, aren't they? And you've got this tiny little baby and these huge boobs, and you just think, this is not going to work. This is just not going to work.
This doesn't make any sense.
So it didn't work for me. But yeah, we want to make sure that the space is really, really safe. Really safe, because even though you may have zero intention of falling asleep, chances are you're going to do it because you're laying down. Yeah, and breastfeeding is nice and relaxing, so chances are you're going to fall asleep. So make sure that space is safe. So don't have your baby sort of teetering on the edge of the mattress. Make sure that you are on the side of the mattress and they are in the middle of the bed. So that if you do fall asleep and they roll onto their back, because you're right there, they're not going to roll onto their front. Yep. Because then when they roll into the back, they're not rolling off the bed. They're not rolling onto anything. And so they're rolling nice and safe. So yeah, even if you have zero intention, always make sure that the space is really, really safe if you do fall asleep.
Yep. You know, one other good suggestion, I'm just thinking of things as we're talking about it, because sleeping while you're breastfeeding is such a, and relaxing while you're breastfeeding and trying, you're doing it for long stretches of time. And if there's a way to rest your own body while you're doing that, it's a really ideal thing. There's something called laid back nursing, which is actually where you lay back. And I actually have a baby here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But where you actually lay back and the baby's on top. So the baby's actually laying on top of you and you're in a more reclined position. And this position actually will help for a lot of things. So having the baby more in a position that's like belly to belly and down supine is actually good for the latch. It's going to help the baby to get closer to the nipple. Gravity helps with doing that. And it puts the baby in a position that actually kick in some of their natural instincts for nursing. When you see a newborn skin to skin right after the birth and they're laying on their mother's belly, and think of the position that we do and we nurse in the first time, right? When you've delivered and you kind of lay back and put that baby on top of you, that kicks in their natural reflexes to latch better to the breast, to use what they're innately there for, to create a good seal and a latch. And so doing that is a great way to get some extra rest. Sometimes I recommend that, have your partner sit next to you. Prop yourself up, make your partner sit there and swear to watch, and put that baby on the breast and close your eyes. Close your eyes and doze off, but don't do it without somebody watching. Okay, now that's very important, because if you're doing this on a sofa or you're doing it on a couch, that can be really dangerous. I'm talking about like somebody sitting there with you. It'll give you the opportunity to even close your eyes for a little while, and even 20 minutes will make a huge difference. So laid back nursing.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Let's get some hearts for that. Do you guys like that idea? Have you guys done that? Have you ever done any laid back nursing? Who's done that position and can attest to the joys of closing your eyes as a new mom?
Oh gosh. Yes, that was wonderful.
You know what? Maybe that's what breast sleeping really means. We're thinking of the baby, but maybe it's really about the mom.
It is. Yep.
All right. Awesome.
Are you drinking wine?
I'm not. I'm really not. This is, and I can prove it. Look, see, I'm drinking. What is it? I've got mango. That's what I'm drinking. Okay. I just like the fancy glasses because it makes me feel fancy.
That's fair enough.
But if I was drinking wine, we'd all have a big problem because I wouldn't be able to answer the question. I'm really lightweight like that. I do want to show the Love to Dream because we are going to have some winners tonight, and I want them to know what they're going to win. And they also need to register to win. So make sure that you have registered at the link. Joe will post it again here, okay? But it was also in the post. Make sure that you're registered. Make sure you like or love this post tonight, and you can do that after the live stream. And make sure you comment here tonight telling me what you love about all the products I'm going to show you, because we're going to pick from your comments, and from that's part of your registration. You also have to be registered. So we're going to be giving away 2 sets, okay, of the Love to Dream, 1 original and 1 50-50. So what does that mean? This is the Love to Dream, and this baby's arms are a little bit twisted. I don't know why, but here we go. Okay, so the Love to, this looks weird, doesn't it? Hold on a second. I got to fix this baby.
Poor baby.
That's really funny. You know what it is? My mother-in-law's watching, and she's going to laugh because she put the baby in the Love to Dream the other day. She was looking at it, and I'm like, why is it so bad? Baby's arms were like... Yes, Bon, that was you. I saw her go. Okay, so this is the Love to Dream. And as you can see, this is a swaddle sack. Okay, I like to call it a swaddle sack or a swaddle suit because it's really not a blanket. It's more of a suit that you zip the baby into. And what it does is it allows the baby's arms to be up at their face, not down, tied down by their body, in a much more natural position for baby. Look at your baby when you lay your baby loose down on a flat surface. Where do their arms go? Their arms don't go straight down at their sides. Their arms are up at their head. If you Google sleeping baby, what are you going to see? You're going to see thousands of pictures with babies up, their arms up like this, okay? Because that's the natural, comfortable position for a baby to sleep in. And that's what this does. It's just a genius product, and it's so well made. It has a single layer that you're going to zip the baby into. The zipper comes from the top or the bottom, so you can change a diaper without taking them out. The original is, about 3 months, or until the baby can start to roll over. And at that point, what you want to do is transition them into what's called the 50-50. And this is the 50-50 Love to Dream, okay? And why it's a 50-50, what it does is it actually, the arms will zip off to transition into more of a sleep sack that doesn't have arms. Not more of, but actually does not have arms. You're zipping this whole thing off, and now the arm is free. And what you can do is start by zipping one side off, and then the next few nights, let them transition and start to use their arms and transition and turn it into the other side and zip off the other side. What's great about this is that not only does it allow your baby to self-soothe, which means bring their hands to their mouth, stroke their cheek, allow them to use their hands while at the same time suppressing that moro or startle reflex. They're not waking themselves up all night long. It's not only helping them to self-soothe, but it's also keeping them safer, because when the baby is swaddled like this, they would have a hard time rolling onto their belly. Okay, their arms almost work like a block to be able to roll. And if they were to roll over onto their belly, they're able to push up and use their arms to get their heads up. So, and also not overheat them. When you don't think about it, but when you think about these big swaddle blankets, not only can it come undone, unravel, get over their face, and I have some really good pictures here I'll show you of this while we're doing it. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. This is the swaddle right here. Not only can it get over their face, but it creates multiple layers, right, Rebecca? Like where you don't think about it, but by the time you're done, you've got 4 or 5 layers around the baby, including their onesie or their pajamas, and now they're just overheated, and that can really set them up for a SIDS risk. So having that single layer, whether it's summer or winter, and in the winter they do have the warmer ones, so this is something that you can win tonight. And I know a lot of us actually need this right now. We're in single digits. We've actually been in single digits for like 2 weeks. And now we're getting the bomb tonight. Like literally that's what they were calling it on the news, the bomb. I don't know what that means, but it's like a blizzard we're getting. And actually tonight after the show, we're going to the supermarket because I didn't even know we were getting hit that hard, but we need food.
You need food.
We need food. I mean, like we're going to be, who knows? You never know. They could be wrong, but who knows? But this is the winter and it's fantastic. It has like a quilting. Mm-hmm. And so soft and so comfortable. I need one tonight.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And the reason I love the Love to Dream is because with the arms up swaddle, I have found working with thousands of families is that it's easier to transition out of the swaddle when the child has the arms up than when they're pinned to their side. I'm sure you can imagine When they're swaddled in the Love to Dream with their arms up, they have this little bit of movement. Even though they're not startling, they do have a little bit of movement. And then when it comes that you do actually need to get them out of the swaddle at some point, then they are used to having a little bit of movement and their arms are in that natural position. If their arms are pinned down to their sides and suddenly they're sleeping up like this,
yes,
so different, and it makes for a very, very hard transition.
Yep.
So sometimes when families contact me and they then want to, they ask me, how can we transition out of the swaddle? I'll often be, the first step will be get the Love to Dream, because that then is going to make that transition easier. Get the 50-50 because you can then pop arms out, but that's going to make the transition easier once you're then ready to completely do that.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. And I didn't, that's a great suggestion, is that even if you haven't been using it, but you're trying to transition your baby out of a swaddle, this is a great way to transition, because that 50-50 is a perfect transition piece.
Definitely.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So let's also show the breast pillow too while we're at it. Okay. This is the fabulous, most genius product. Okay. This is the breast support pillow. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about it. And this is really great for when you're trying to position. Okay. They look like little wedges and they come in different sizes. And this is a really important thing to consider when you're ordering one of these, is to really size yourself. And you can see that I'm not kidding. Like, they really come in different sizes. Okay. I couldn't help myself. All right. So they really do come in different sizes. And of course, that has to do with the different size breasts. So if you have a larger breast, you're going to need a bigger wedge to support that breast up. Supporting the breast properly while you're nursing will help you to have, one, a more painless latch. So it'll be more comfortable while you latch. And two, if the breast is supported properly, the baby can latch on better, which means they can get the milk out faster, easier, the feedings go quicker, and they can drain the breast better. So that means overall more milk production, just everything enhanced. And so many moms talk about holding their breast during the feeding, and that's because that breast needs support, not just large breasts.
No.
Small breasts too. I know I needed to hold my breast through the entire feeding, and this would have been fantastic.
Definitely.
I've actually been working with them for a really long time. I used to sell this product in my store years and years ago, and would use them during my consultations so that moms could try them out. But they just make a big difference. If you have large breasts, for sure. If you find yourself challenged by having to hold or roll up a towel, or multiples, that's another time when this works really, really well.
I spent months holding my boobs, especially after my youngest was born, because she was born a little bit premature and she was tiny. So I literally spent months holding my boobs. And if I didn't even know about the towel trick. I didn't even try that. I spent months holding my boobs.
Just holding your boob.
Yeah. And if I'd have known about that product, it's one of those products where you're just like, dang, why didn't I think of that? That's such a good idea.
And it's like this really cool, strong memory foam. So you smush it. I get an echo.
No, I don't hear it.
No? You smush it, and when you put it under your breast, if you can see that, it opens and lifts the breast up into position. If you're going to order, Joe's going to be posting a link with you guys that you guys can order if you want to. We're going to be giving one away tonight, but they're really inexpensive, and I'm going to give you 25% off too. So the code is Shari25. You can go ahead and order one, and when you order, make sure that you actually measure your breast the way they're describing. They do give it based on cup sizes, but that's really subjective. So I would prefer if you just use the measure from underneath the breast to the nipple the way they describe, and it'll give you the perfect size. You really need it to be the right size so that you can imagine, you could see in the picture, if it's extending out beyond the breast, it's going to interfere with the baby's latch. So I want to make sure that you get the right one.
Great.
Awesome. Yay. All right, let's get some hearts for the prizes. Remember what you need to do. Register at the link. Enter me to win. It's bit.ly/enter me to win. Joe pinned it here. love this post and comment telling me what you love about the individual products so we could tell what you are interested in. And you can tell me you're interested in all of them and write a separate comment for each. That's fine. Okay, let's go to the next question, Rebecca. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
The next question. Oh, okay. This one came in from Jenna. Jenna said, I'm going back to work in 1 month, so I'm starting to pump and freeze. Today is day 1. Any tips on how much to pump per day? I want to make sure I don't pump too much and then not have enough for my daughter for the present day. I have currently just been pumping once a day in the morning, about 3 to 4 ounces, and using that bottle for the night when my husband feeds. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed your holidays. You too. Okay, so this is a great question because, there's multiple layers to this question, actually, because so many of us need to go back to work once we have our babies and pretty early on. And you need to be able to, 1, keep up with your baby's demands day to day of breastfeeding, and then 2, plan for that first day back at work, or, making sure that you have enough, a little bit extra in the freezer, or how do you pump when your baby's eating? And that's a big question that I get all the time. How do you get extra out when your baby's eating all of it?
Mm-hmm.
The best advice I could give you is to make sure that you are not trying to do it all at one time. Like, it's really important to plan ahead. I think that's probably the best advice I could give you is don't say to me, I'm going back to work on Monday. It's Friday. What do I do? Because it's really hard to give you, and you need more time than that. And so you want to give yourself as many weeks as possible. A couple weeks is ideal to be pumping just a little extra in addition to what you're nursing, and to pick those times a day when you have that extra milk, like maybe during the night or maybe first thing in the morning where you can spare a little extra and you're stashing it up. I actually have a treat for you guys. I'm going to show you a little video right now. I have a clip from my breast pumps and briefcases class. And this is a class that so many of you have watched, have helped you to go back to work. And this is a part where I actually do a little math example. And we need some math when it comes to this question. So I'm gonna play the clip and let you guys watch it. Hold on 1 second here while I cue it up. 1 minute. Here we go. And if you've watched breast pumps and briefcases, it actually comes with the Even Flow pump, and it's part of our membership. So if you're interested, you can get it there too. I'd love to hear your, let me see, how do I get this on here the right way? I didn't exactly do a very good job, did I? Hold on, I'll get it. I'll get it. We're all friends here, right? Okay, here we go. Is that working? No. Did that work? Hold on 1 second. All right. We're going to stop that. We're going to stop that. 1 minute.
As you're preparing to return.
Hold on. I'm going to get it. I promise you. All right. I screwed that up, didn't I? I've been screwed up video lately a lot. So hold on. I'm going to get it. Can I get it? Can you see that?
No.
No? So not working. Okay. What happened? Okay. It's working.
There we go. Yes.
As you're preparing to return to work, you'll be wondering, how much should I be storing? And how far in advance do I need to prepare? As with anything, it is always best not to leave things to the last minute. And pumping enough breast milk for your return to work is certainly at the top of that list. Start several weeks prior to your first day back at work and calculate how many ounces will you need for your baby on the first day, as well as your freezer stash. For example, if you'll be away from your baby for 8 hours and will need to pump 3 times for 3 to 4 ounces each, that will be 9 to 12 ounces of milk needed for your first day back at work. If you then add another 10 3-ounce bags for your freezer, this will add an additional 30 ounces that you will ultimately need. In this scenario, in total, you will need about 40 ounces of milk to be fully prepared. Waiting to store this until the last week before you go back will make it really difficult to achieve. And in this case, what I would recommend is that you only focus on getting the 9 to 12 ounces pump that you will need for your first day. You'll have to catch up on the freezer stash later. Ideally, you will give yourself a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks to start pumping and storing. Pumping 1 to 2 ounces per day, in addition to the half ounce of milk that you will continue to feed your baby each evening just to keep the bottle going, will give you more than enough over the 4 to 6 weeks to have all the milk you need for your first day back at work, plus your freezer stash. For some moms, this is not a problem. And for others, you may find it difficult to pump in between feeding your baby to get this extra milk. One of the ways to work around this is to not try and pump between feedings, but to express a small amount, like a 1/4 of an ounce from each side prior to each breastfeeding during the day. If you're breastfeeding 8 times and you express a half an ounce each time, you'll essentially be storing 4 ounces per day. This is even more than I'm recommending you do if you gave yourself enough time.
All right, I did it. It worked.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, hearts for the clip there. I hope that was helpful. You know, that's something that so many moms wonder about, they worry about. And again, you can see from the calculation, it all comes down to having enough time to do that, planning it out, and you just need to do small amounts each day. So that's just one clip. It's a really helpful video. It really teaches you everything about pumping. So I do have a sleep question for you, Rebecca.
Okay, good.
Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Okay. This question came in from Ashley, and she said her son will be 8 months on the 10th, and he still wakes 2 to 3 times in the night, sometimes to nurse, other times she can rock him back to sleep, or I can just bring him to bed with me. Will this ever end?
Yes, it will. I guarantee between now and college it will end. I cannot say exactly when that will be, though. Is that the answer that she wanted?
You know, probably not, but it's the truthful answer,
yes.
right? It's
Yeah.
the truthful answer.
It is.
Children
wake during the night, and it's really normal for them to do so. And I really do think that it's really normal for children up to 12 months of age to wake during the night. After we get past 12 months of age, more often than not, we can work on reducing down to not needing to feed during the night. But it does depend on a lot of things. Temperament, the child's weight, so many different things. The setup of sleeping at home, if you're how much time each day you're able to spend with your child, if you're working. So it really does depend on so many different things.
Yeah.
But an 8-month-old waking 2 or 3 times a night is really not unheard of. It really, really isn't. Yeah. And though that is a teeny bit more than what is average. But hey, who wants to be average?
She does.
Okay, when it comes to
easy for you to say.
We all want to be average. We all want to be better than average.
Last year we did a show. One of the first shows we did together was talking about sleep myths. And we started with that topic because so many of the questions, when they come to breastfeeding or sleeping, so many are really normal. The concern, the issue, the challenge, the thing you're trying to change is actually a normal behavior in your child, which means that we really don't want to change it. We need to understand it. We need to help guide them. We need to understand what are the normal boundaries so that, you know, we're not saying that child should be waking every hour. There's something wrong if they're waking every hour, right? Mm-hmm. But waking during the night for a baby, and like you said, under 12 months old, especially a nursing baby, it's a normal thing and it won't last. And sometimes you just need to hear that this is kind of a transition time.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it feels like forever.
Totally does. Sleep deprivation is awful. And we always as well make sleep as a competition, don't we? I remember when my eldest was born, I was still in the hospital and I was on the phone with my mom, and my mom said to me, "Oh, I can't hear her." And I said, "Well, she's sleeping. I mean, she's just been born. She's sleeping." And she said, "Oh, so she's a good sleeper then?" And she's only been born 6 hours. She's done nothing but sleep since then. But that was all that, you know, and that really got me thinking then that, gosh, we have this whole competition as to good sleeper, because what's the alternative is a bad sleeper. When in fact, it's all pretty normal. And I said to her, you know, she's only just been born. This is what she's supposed to do. There's going to be a lot of sleep happening, because that was pretty, you know, a pretty big deal for her being born. But you know, it is this, we have it as like a competition, and you will, you know, you know, I'm sure every single person who's watching has heard that. Are they a good sleeper? And most of the time it's just normal sleep, but we sort of view it as this sort of, we want our child to be the best sleeper, because sleep deprivation is torturous, it's horrible, and we view this as sort of even as, you know, this sort of badge of honor if we can get our child sleeping through the night and sleeping well, when to be honest, it really is nothing to do with you as the parent. A lot of it is to do with the child, whether they're just going to be able to do it or not at a young age.
Yeah. And so many times it can really lead to problems. It really can, because when you think there's something wrong and you're trying to fix a situation that's actually normal, you start interfering with the normal development and process of whatever's happening, whether that's your baby needing to be with you, your baby needing to eat more frequently. That can interfere with breastfeeding. It could actually help make you think that you don't have enough milk. It could make you think that you need to supplement, which then can lead to not enough milk. So all these things are not so benign. You know, understanding what's normal is really very, very important. And also understanding that each baby is different. So that you're not comparing, because when we say compare, you could be comparing just from one child to the next. And I know I was guilty of that. We've all done that, you know, where you look at maybe your first child and that child may have slept better. Now this child, the second child is, you know, when I say better, again, better, worse, may have slept more. The second child may be waking more frequently, and trying not to compare the two, because they're both within the normal. There's big normal range. When it comes,
a lot of it's to do with their temperament. A lot of it's to do with their temperament as to who they are. Children who are more intense and spirited, and these are the children that I see, these are the children that I work with, have more issues with sleep. They just do. They need less sleep per 24 hours. They just do. There's nothing we can do about that. These are the kids who have fear of missing out. And so they're so alert, they're so awake, that they struggle more with sleep because they don't want to miss anything. And so, you know, but that for them is very, very normal. That's for them. And we can certainly help them get more relaxed so that they can have an easier time sleeping. But if you have a laid back, easygoing child as well, you'll really be able to tell the difference as to how strict you need to be with routines and things like that. And that really comes down to sort of the individual child and giving them the help and the support it is that they need.
Absolutely. I see a question in the chat. Andrea just said, how do you know what is normal for crying for night wakings? And, you know, that too will be dependent on your child's age. It'll depend on, you know, other things that might be happening. You know, babies go through different growth spurts when it comes to breastfeeding and they're growing. They go through regressions when it comes to sleeping. And so the night waking, the crying, you kind of know your baby's cry. I mean, you will get to know your baby's cry. There's cries for hunger. There's cries for tiredness. There's cries for, you know, I need you to hold me. I want to be with you. And then there's cries of pain too. And so understanding your baby's cry and knowing that not all crying is negative, that crying is the way they communicate what they need and responding to that need when they cry. I mean, that's super important, if nothing else. And I think this is it's such an important point for all of you guys to grasp, is that in those early months with your baby, the response to their crying is what's wiring their brain to know that you're there for them, to know that when they yell out, when they reach out, there is a response. And that actually wires them for trust, for security, for self-sufficiency. It's actually the opposite of what you would think, that they need you too much. No, it helps them. And so their brains are being wired at that time. And so the best thing that you could do is to respond to your baby. You know, when people say, don't pick up your baby every time they cry. No, babies are not manipulating you. Babies are not trying to get one over on you. They're not, you can't spoil a newborn or an infant. You can't spoil them. they have a need. And whether that's I need more milk or I need more hugs, it's still a very real need.
Totally. We want to be there for our children, and we really want them to know that we are going to be there for them. So whether that's now when they're 4 months old or that's whether they're 14, we want them to know that we're going to be there for them when they need us. And what I say to families is that if there was an elderly person who was in bed crying for help, you wouldn't ignore them.
Yeah.
So don't ignore your child. I mean, and yes, there are all these different cries, and I know how hard it is to drag yourself out of bed in the middle of the night. But the fussy whiny, I said you don't have to rush to the fussy whiny, the more of a noisy, chatty cry. That's not asking for help. It's when it begins to really ramp up, when it begins to ramp to that proper cry, that's when your child is asking for help. And there's that cry, you know the one, I call it the mummy, I need you now cry. It's that real big urgent cry, the one where you're jumping out of bed before you're even awake.
Yeah.
Don't ever, ever, ever ignore that one, because that is when your child is asking for help.
Yep.
And you always want them to know that when they need help, that you are going to be there for them, and you are going to be there, and you are going to help them and do everything that you can to help them, because that's when they're needing help, whether it's they've got a tummy ache, whether they've had a bad dream, or whether they're just going through a bout of separation anxiety and they just need to know that you're still around.
Yeah.
Give them that support, because in the long run of nurturing your children to be adults, it's going to benefit you and your family so much.
Such good advice. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like we said, it does pass. You got Rebecca and I. Okay, so Rebecca and I are both moms. Mm-hmm. We both have 2 children. We both have teenagers, preteens and teens.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of at the same point in our lives with our children, but we've both been there. And so it's only in hindsight. If you had asked me, 16 years ago, 13 years ago, the first year felt like a decade. I mean,
yeah.
I feel so much compassion for all that you're all going through, because I know that this is such a hard time, and when you're not sleeping and when you're second guessing and you're new at it, it's maybe your first baby and you're just afraid, like I'm going to do something wrong or I'm not going to do it right. It does feel like forever, but it's now looking back that you can see that it really does go quickly. And those moments of response, like Rebecca just said, are extremely important. Some actually more important than getting them on a schedule, more important than getting that last thing you needed to do in the house done, or whatever it is. Those things don't matter as much as the development that you're, that bond and that trust that you're building with your child.
Yeah, when you've got teenagers, there's no parent on the planet who looks back and thinks, I wish I'd hugged and snuggled my baby less.
Yeah, nobody.
No matter how much you love and hug and snuggle your baby, you will always want to do it. When you look back, you're always going to be, I should have done it more. I wish I could have done it more, because you miss it.
Yep.
Not that I would ever have another baby.
I'm with you. I'll drink my drink mango to that.
But I like to snuggle with other people's babies.
That's right. That's why we do what we do, Rebecca, so we can snuggle their babies.
And smell their newborn, and then we can just hand them back and deal with our teenagers at home.
I agree. So Monica just said she's a first timer here. Yeah, it's not easy, but congratulations on your baby and on this journey. How many first-time moms do we have in the audience right now? I want to hear from you. Go ahead. And if you're new, I want to know that, are you new to the program? Is this the first time you're watching? Did you just stumble across us and said, who are these
crazy gurus
on the screen? What are they talking about? What are they doing? What are they drinking? And give me some of that. Yeah, I want to know who's new and who's a new mom, new dad, or new to the show. I get a breastfeeding question from Conchita. Conchita's one of my favorites. Hi, Conchita.
And mine.
Oh, good. All right, awesome. So Conchita's close to both of us.
Yes.
When starting solids, do I also need to give my son water too? He's 6 months and he's exclusively breastfed. And this is actually a very, very good question.
Yeah.
I did a post on this not too long ago on my Facebook page it was actually during the summer, because this is a question that comes up a lot, especially in the summer months, where people think they need to feed their baby water.
Yeah.
And specifically when it comes to breastfed babies, they don't need any water at all. Okay, so I'm going to just say that breastfed babies do not need breastfed babies do not need to drink additional water. Breast milk is mostly water, okay, and they will get all the hydration that they need from breast milk. If you start feeding your breastfed baby additional water, you're filling them up with nothing. You know, with water, it makes them not as hungry. They won't nurse as much. And your body is so smart, okay? When your baby needs more water, your milk actually gets more watery. You will produce more. This is what happens in the heat in the summer, okay? So there is no need for additional water. And anybody who tells you that your baby needs water because it's hot, that's very old advice. It's very old advice. And not only can it interfere with your breast milk production, okay, or what your baby's going to need to get just from the milk, it can actually really cause harm. Babies can become what they call water intoxicated, where they actually get too much water. It throws off all their electrolytes. They can have seizures from this. Babies can die from drinking water. So you do not want to feed your baby water. So I'm glad you asked the question, Conchita, because you're not alone in asking this, and you'll hear people giving very strange, very old, antiquated advice and dangerous advice. But breastfed babies do not need water, just breast milk.
Yep. Great question.
It is a great question.
Yeah.
Very great question. Hearts to you, Conchita. Hearts to you. Okay, let's do a sleep question. Nicole asked, okay, here's a question from Nicole. How and when should I transition nursing a co-sleeping baby into their own room?
Well, the American Academy of Pediatrics suggests room sharing for between 6 and 12 months of age, as this reduces the risk of SIDS. But I think that, you know when you're ready, when you're ready to make that change. And again, sometime generally before college. And I talk with many, many groups. I'm sure you can imagine. I talk with hundreds of thousands of people each year. And this is the question I would always get, was when should we stop bed sharing? And when should we move to more independent sleep? And I always used to joke, sometimes before college. And then one family said, yeah, that's what we're worried about. We have our neighbor and dad's still bed sharing with the son, and he's just about to leave for college. I was like, oh, okay.
So maybe you were right.
yeah, sometime before then. That's what we're worried about. We don't want it to get like that. But anyway, when the right time is to move from bed sharing, from room sharing, when that is, and you want to look at what those recommendations are for the reduction of SIDS. So we're looking at making sure that your child is you don't have any big stuffed animals or anything in the crib. The temperature of the room should actually be fairly cool. We want to be making sure we've not got any blankets or anything in there. So we're looking at what the whole sort of SIDS risks. But if you're comfortable moving your child into their room before that 6 months, then do it. Really do. And just make an informed decision. Personally, both of my daughters were out of my room before they were 5 months old, because one night, especially with my eldest, and she was probably about 3 months old, she was beginning to wake up. And she was in the bassinet right next to my bed. She was beginning to wake up. And so I was doing just the mom thing of instantly waking up, as you do when you're a mom. You instantly wake up at the first noise. And I'm sort of sat on the bed, ready to pick her up when she woke up, but she's still grunting and moving and farting and burping and all of these things while she's still asleep. My husband's asleep the other side of me, and I'm the only one who's awake. And I think there's something really, really wrong here. Mm-hmm. Why am I the only one who's wide awake right now? And as it was, that night, she just then got down into a deeper sleep and didn't even wake up at all. But it took me forever then to get back to sleep. And it was the next night she slept in her own room, and she was 3 months old, because we were just disturbing each other. And I knew that was the right time for me and for our family to make that move. If you are bed sharing, you want to make sure that everybody who is in the bed is on board. And so that may be that your partner, everybody needs to be on board with this. And if one of you isn't, then that's when you want to start Doesn't necessarily mean to sleeping in their own room, but that's when you want to start making a compromise. And that may be crib next to your bed or bassinet next to your bed. But you know the right time. It's not for me to tell you when that is.
Right. Good answer. Good answer. You know, there's recommendations and then there's our own personal choices. And what we do, and I mean, I guess that's the goal of what we're doing here with you right now. What we do, what we always do. And I know my show, and I've been doing this for many years with you guys online. You know, it's already, it's 2018. That means we are in our 8th year.
Woo!
Oh my God, of streaming. It's a long time. Yeah, the 8th or 9th year. We started like 2010 or something like that. So I think, you know, what the most important thing is to give you the knowledge and the information so that, and the recommendations, so that you can get understanding of what experts do recommend. But then you take all of it, you take everything that you know, and you listen to your own gut and instincts too, because there is something there. Whether this is the first time you're doing this or the 10th time, your 10th child, it doesn't matter. Those instincts are there and they're telling you what's right for you and your family, which is why we don't compare. We try not to compare ourselves, and we learn and then we make educated choices. And that's the whole point of when we're giving you this information. It's strictly so that you have good information to then make a real choice. My whole thing, I really feel that if you don't have the right information, it's not really a choice. You know, and so when I teach breastfeeding, and I know a lot of moms will watch my classes and learn from me about breastfeeding, and then they're like, you know, but do I really, you know, it doesn't seem right for me. I did it for a little while and then I decided. That's totally fine. I'm giving you the knowledge and the information that I have so that you can have real good informed choices, and then it is totally your choice to make, and there is no right or wrong. It's what's right for you. Right. So I just want to say that because often, you know, I discuss breastfeeding, and it's not everybody's choice. And I get that. And that's your choice to make. It's your baby. And it's totally okay. It's totally okay. So with that, let's answer another breastfeeding question, and let's get some hearts. Yes. Hi, honey. Okay. So the next question came in from Monica. Monica said, my son is 4 months old, has recently started arching his back, kicking his legs, and acting uncomfortable at the breast. We do use a shield and have recently started working to wean from it. What could be causing him to do this? Oh, you know, the first thought I have when I read this question, a 4-month-old that just recently is starting to arch their back, kick their legs, and acting uncomfortable, I would ask you to just think about if you recently feel like you just went through a growth spurt, okay? Because this is the typical pattern. You know, babies have growth spurts at around 2 to 3 weeks, then somewhere around 3 to 4 months, 2 to 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 to 4 months, and then again around 6 months. And so how that looks is that you're going along fine, everything's good, and then one day the baby's just super hungry, eating every hour, you feel empty, you feel like you don't have enough, they're draining every last drop, you're wondering, are they, you know, do I make enough? And the answer really is not really, but in a normal way, okay? You're not making enough for the growth spurt that they just had because they don't grow the same every day. They go through these spurts. And what happens is when they go through this spurt, they require more milk. And so they drain every last drop. They eat every hour. They look hungry. You kind of go through this 24 to 48 hour period where you're feeding a lot. And by doing that and emptying the breast a lot, it gives a signal to your brain and to your body to make a lot more. And it does. And it responds. And that's how your baby regulates your milk supply. That's the last thing you want to do is supplement at that point and trick your body into thinking your baby doesn't need it, okay? So what happens is you go through this growth spurt, you do what you're supposed to do, which is feeding a lot, and then all of a sudden your body kicks back with a full engorgement, you know, and you do feel full. All of a sudden you're like going from feeding every hour to now the breast is full, the baby's gagging and choking and milk spurting out everywhere. And that rebound from that growth spurt can cause your baby to swallow and gulp really, really hard from a forceful letdown. It could seem like it just recently started. He's arching his back. He's kicking his legs. He's uncomfortable because he's swallowed air and he needs to burp, or he needs to slow down, or he needs to nurse on top where he can control the flow a little bit more. But that's a very typical thing. That's actually not usually a big problem. It's just noticing that it's a rebound from the growth spurt, probably a lot of milk. Take the baby off right after the letdown, burp the baby. And, you know, when you see your baby arching, even if it's just after the letdown, what it usually means is the baby just swallowed a giant air bubble. Take the baby off, burp the baby, put the baby back to breast. Don't ignore it, because you're just putting more milk down on top of that air, and then the baby needs to get that air out. All right. And I did see somebody say here reflux, and reflux is a very overdiagnosed situation.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't assume at 4 months old out of nowhere, just because the baby started arching his back, kicking his legs, that all of a sudden the baby just developed reflux. That wouldn't be my first thing go to. Okay. And I would really look at, you know, could be just, I would say, the way the baby's swallowing. And, you know, the baby's also using a nipple shield too. That's one other thing that's kind of into the mix here. And I really wonder, why is the baby on a shield? Is the baby having difficulty latching? Is there any issue anatomically with the baby's mouth? Has the baby been evaluated for a tongue tie, a lip tie? Because those things too will have the baby swallowing a lot more air. All right. And so much of the time when we're talking about reflux, it really is about a tongue tie that needs to be released. And when the baby cannot move their tongue properly when they're nursing, they swallow a lot more air, and then they're diagnosed with reflux and they're put on all these medications. And the truth is, they really need to have that tongue tie corrected, because it's not just about painful nursing. It's about, you know, they'll struggle with a bottle. They'll struggle to feed. They'll struggle to speak and to breathe later on in life. These are important things to be evaluated now, and take those signs and get the right evaluation. All right, here you go. So there's my answer for that. That was a long answer for a short question, but I can't help myself, right? We can't do that. Okay. Yep. Good, Melissa. Well, you know what? I know you wish that she said she wished she had heard this before having him being diagnosed with reflux. But again, that's what we were just saying, is that this is a time for us to get together so that you can get this really good information and then make choices, get the right evaluations, ask questions, go into your doctor's office with a list. You should have a list in front of you and ask those questions. You know, this is how you're going to know which questions to ask. I don't know. I can't see inside your baby's mouth, but I can tell you my experience. And I can tell you, you know, what I've seen and what I do see, and where I've seen misdiagnosis over and over and over again, and babies suffering for that, and moms suffering for that. So it's, you know, and if you're not getting the answers that you want from your doctor, find another doctor. You know, this is your child. Find another doctor if you're not getting the answer you want. Keep going. Keep looking, just like we all do for ourselves too.
Yep.
Rebecca, you ready for another sleep question? Oh, we have time for one more question. Okay. And let's answer one more question, and then we'll tell them again how to win the prize tonight. And we've got a lot more questions. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We have a lot of questions. I know that they're going to keep rolling in. We obviously can't answer all of them. Rebecca and I are going to do this monthly Q&A where we'll do as many as we can. We're also going to be doing some great stuff within our private groups. Rebecca's got a private membership. So do I. This is where we can work a little closer with all of you, whether it's for sleeping, breastfeeding, or anything in between. And we're actually in the works to do something together. So we'll be announcing that over the next few weeks of how we can do that, so that if you want to work closer with both of us, get those questions answered, work a little more privately, that we'll be able to do that. But just know that we'll get to as many questions as we can each month. And I think we'll start some kind of a special spreadsheet just for questions for these Q&As, so that we can start working down the line and make sure that we can get to as many as possible. How's that sound?
That sounds really good.
Right? Let's do that. We'll do that. Yeah. And I'll put the rest of these back into that pile that we didn't get to tonight.
Great.
All right. So Rebecca, a sleep question for you. Let's see. This one came in from Molly, and I know Molly's in the chat, so we're going to answer her question. She said, my baby is 6 weeks old. I've only got 2 weeks of maternity left. I'm not comfortable co-sleeping until he's bigger. How can we get past getting up every hour? He seems to sleep longer, 2 to 3 hour stretches if he's being held, but is up every hour or so when I put him in the bassinet.
Really normal for a 6-week-old. And when you think that they're only 6 weeks old, and that is such a short period of time, there are certainly some things you can do to make things a little bit easier. The swaddling, definitely. Because if they're being held, that's basically a swaddle, is when you're holding them. That's perfect. It is when you're holding them, it's that swaddle, and it's got, even with the Love to Dream, it still has a little bit of pressure on their body. It's not tight. It's a very stretchy fabric, but it has that little bit of pressure, so that can really help. It can help so much. It can make the difference from those wake ups every hour to go into that 2 or 3 hours that you're getting when held. So
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how much that really does work.
Totally.
And especially for babies that are busting out, you're trying to swaddle them, but they keep getting out. That's going to keep startling them. So having something that keeps them comfortable, keeps them in.
Totally. That will really help. But then honestly, there isn't a huge amount that we can do at this age, because we're still establishing breastfeeding. So that means that we are going to be needing to be feeding as often as needed. We're also your child is going to need to be having that attachment. And though it is super frustrating, they do actually, need this time being held. So you may find that for during the day, though this isn't going to help at night, but for during the day, actually, if wearing them in a carrier, that may really help. Because what I think about when we have a child is that we've got to fill up their touch tank. They need to have this touch and this closeness, sort of so much per day. And if they don't get it, they're going to look for it at nighttime. So if we can fill up their touch tank during the day, again, with the swaddling, then they may be able to go slightly longer stretches at nighttime, but we may not be able to get, a 6, 8, 10 hour stretch, but you may be able to get to that 2 or 3 hours that you're getting at nighttime when doing that held, because the one that's filling up the touch tank and you are the swaddle.
Awesome. Yep. It's a touch tank. I love that. They do need that.
Yeah.
They really do. And especially at that age, they really need that. I think that's a great suggestion, the baby wearing. And if you're going back to work early, which, I think any time in that first year is too early. But so many of us need to do that. Try to wear the baby when you're home, when you come home from work. It will help to get that closeness that you need.
Yeah, definitely. I always suggest that to families when a parent's going back to work, is that as soon as they get home, they wear, because it's that time of the day when you've got dinner to do, everything's kind of crazy. Yeah. It still means that you can do the laundry and you can do the things that you need to do, but you've still got that closeness with your child, but you're actually then able to do things and you've got two hands, which is, when you have such a young child, is quite the novelty.
Yep. She just said, thank you. I don't mind holding him, just afraid of falling asleep with him in my arms. Yeah. And wearing is a good way too to keep the baby upright, to keep yourself kind of hands-free, but the baby in a safe position. And you do need to stay conscious of them also. You can't just put them in a carrier and go to sleep. So no. We're not recommending doing that. It's more, you're around the house, Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Molly, I think that when it comes to not wanting to fall asleep with the baby and that holding, that's where the swaddle is really going to come into place, even more than baby wearing. It's a way to put the baby down. This is not a way to not hold your baby. This is a way to, kind of substitute yourself a little to give that baby that snugness that the baby needs in order to self-soothe and keep themselves in a calm state. And so where the Love to Dream will really do that. And if you guys, it really help. It'll really, really help. So if you want to win one and you want to win the breast pillow tonight, okay, we're going to have 3 winners. We're going to have 2 winners Two winners of the Love to Dream. They'll each win two, one original and one 50-50. Okay. And then someone's going to win the breast support pillow. You just need to like or love this post. I like to love the post. Okay. So if you can love the post, and comment here. Tell me what you love most about the products that we talked about tonight. Tell me why you want to win it, how it will help you, how it will change your life, because it will, right? And then make sure that you're registered at the right link. It's the bit.ly, enter me to win, okay? And then you can register for each of the prizes. Rebecca, congratulations on our first Q&A, breast sleeping Q&A of 2018, with many more to come, at least 11 more, as I can tell from right now. Okay, we're going to do this monthly, you guys. So look out for our Q&As. We'll be doing them the first week of the month, each month, and post your questions. We'll give you a special place to put them so that we can keep them in the right spot. And then come visit us in our membership groups and join, all right? We would love to have you. I'm super excited to finally have it up and running and to have the full video library accessible for all of you. Anybody in the chat tonight, I know a bunch of you are that are in my group. Anybody enjoying the library? You want to say something in the chat here? Has it been helping? Tell them how many videos we have.
Oh my gosh, you have hundreds of videos there. It's absolutely crazy. I couldn't even look through them all. I was scrolling through and I was just, my jaw was on the floor. I'm just like, there are so many.
There's so many.
Absolutely everything. It's so awesome.
Yeah, and you know what's so great too is a lot of it is interviews with top experts. You know, over the years of doing this show, what you're getting is the replays on dozens and hundreds of episodes and clips and interviews with every kind of expert and every kind of topic that has to do with taking care of your baby, your family, yourself, from pregnancy to birth to potty training and siblings. And literally, we've done every show. We've done every topic. And we have more to come. Next week, we have a really interesting show that we've never done before. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Roger Sahori. He's a chiropractor. And we're going to talk about chiropractic care for pregnancy, for birth, and for babies. It's something we haven't covered, but so many of you want to know. So we're going to do that next Tuesday. It's a different night. Keep that in mind. Tuesday, we're going to do a special night. So it's Tuesday night at 9 p.m. I'll be putting up the announcement. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for being with me. Always, always a pleasure. I'm excited to do this with you. And thank you, everyone at home, for watching. You're asking how much is the membership? All right, listen, there are different levels, different ways that you can do it. It's very, very affordable for what you're getting, okay? So you can either join for the whole year and get access to everything. That means the whole library, plus all of my online courses. That means there's 5 courses. You watch all of them for free. They usually sell for $39.99, so you're getting all of them. And access to our private membership group on Facebook. So I'll be doing private Q&As. I'm there with you guys. We have a smaller group, okay? Right now, there's a special price. If you go to the link that Joe just put up, it's $99 for the year. It includes all of that. All right.
Wow.
You join for the whole year. You get access to everything, all the courses, all the live streams, the whole library, and the private group for an entire year. Okay. And that's the VIP membership. You can also join month to month if you wanted to test it out. It's just not, it doesn't include the classes. It includes the library. All right. So there you go. There's your answer. And the monthly is, if you pay monthly, it's $14.95 a month. All right. But go to that page. You can read all about it. And if you have any questions, you can post them and we'll try to answer them for you. Thank you, Love to Dream. And thank you, Breast Support Pillow. Mwah. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you, everybody. Stay safe in the snow if you are being hit with the other 14 million. I don't know what they say. Joe, how big was this storm? They saw it from space. Really big.
Sorry.
It's really, they called it the bomb.
Oh my God. I was chilly today and it was 45 degrees.
Oh, be quiet. We haven't seen over like 4 degrees. I'm not kidding. Yeah, our bathroom sink froze this week. That's how cold it is. It is just, it's brutal.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's brutal. It's brutal, but it's going away. I hear it's getting warmer, so Yeah.
Oh, you might have double digits.
Let's play some snow for the audience. There we go. Okay, we'll leave you with a blizzard so that you can see us in the snow. It actually looks very pretty. It looks prettier than it's going to feel, I'm sure. I'm off to the supermarket right now. It's 10:10 here in New Jersey, and I'm getting my coat on and my gloves and my hat and everything else, and my boots.
Good luck.
And I'm going to get some food for my family. Good night, everyone. Have a good one. Happy New Year. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.